Hi, I'm Lauren from Tideline Surf. Today I'm at the TYF shop in St David's. I'm going to be taking you through a 30-minute full body flow. We're going to be focusing on mindful movement whilst stilling the mind and bringing some relaxation into your day. I'm going to be bringing out more of these types of classes for you in the future, so stay tuned to see what's coming. And when you're ready, grab yourself a mat or a soft surface, a quiet space, and we'll get going. So starting today's class at the top of our mats in mountain pose, Tadasana. Making sure that your feet are hip width distance apart, palms are shining forward, chest shining forward. Gaze is lowered here or the eyes are closed. I just want you to notice your breath here, not changing anything, just simply noticing the inhalations and exhalations of your own breath. Feeling the ground beneath your feet and just tapping into how you're feeling today. How your body feels, how your mind feels. Finding some stillness at the start of today's class before we get moving and bring some heat into the body. You might choose to set an intention here for today's class. Maybe something you can take off the mat and into your day. Maybe you want to practice being kinder to yourself, showing yourself more love. Or maybe you just want to practice simply being more present. Whatever it is, I want you to set your attention here and slowly start to deepen the breath. Into your belly, setting your intention, and exhaling out to let anything go, anything that doesn't serve you. Exhaling it and letting it go. From here, we're just gonna jump right into today's practice. So on your next inhale breath, I want you to sweep your arms up and overhead, palms to the sky, gaze following the hands. And exhaling to sweep your arms behind you, pivoting from the hips and folding forward to let it all go. Taking a few breaths here in forward fold. Before inhaling, reaching your arms up and overhead. Exhaling to repeat, sweeping your arms behind you, folding forward to let anything go. Inhaling to come up, sweeping those arms up and overhead, stretching up tall. And exhaling to pivot from the hips, sweeping your arms behind you, coming into forward fold. On your next inhale breath, I want you to lift up halfway, coming into a flat back position, bringing your hands to the tops of your thighs or onto the fronts of your calves. And exhaling to fold back forward. I want you to plant your palms here onto the mat and step one foot back, followed by the other. From here, shifting your weight forwards onto your hands and slowly lowering your belly all the way to the ground. Inhaling to come up through baby cobra, activating those back muscles, pushing through the tops of your feet, and exhaling to come back down. Inhaling to push your way up into tabletop position, tucking those toes and pushing your hips high into the sky to come into our first downward facing dog. Pedaling the feet here, lowering one heel to the ground, followed by the other. You're trying to create a triangular shape with your body, pushing your chest into your thighs. Your gaze is towards your feet, and you're grounding your heels. Making sure not to dump all of your weight into the wrists, pushing through the tips of your fingers and your knuckles. Taking one inhale breath here. Exhaling to slowly lower the knees to the floor. Coming into tabletop position now, I want you to stack your wrists beneath your shoulders and your knees beneath your hips. Finding any movement here that feels good. Bumping the hips from left to right. Maybe taking your gaze to look behind you one way and then the other. Before taking an inhale breath to drop the belly and shine the chest forward, coming into cow pose. And exhaling to reverse this motion, curling the spine and lowering your chin down to your chest, coming through cat pose. And taking this in your own time, so inhaling to come into cow pose, dropping the belly and shining the chest forward, and exhaling to come through cat pose. You can take any movement here that feels intuitive to you, so maybe bumping the hips left to right as you lower the belly, and again as you curl the spine, maybe creating little circles one way and then the other. Before tucking the toes and coming to lift the knees just slightly from the ground to bring in some core activation to today's practice, starting to tap into those belly muscles. Holding for 3, 2, 1, and pushing your bum back up into the sky, coming into downward facing dog. Pedaling one foot, followed by the other. Maybe taking your right hand and reaching for your left ankle, taking your gaze under your left shoulder here for a really nice twist. And maybe taking your left hand and reaching for your right ankle, looking under your right shoulder. And from here, lowering those knees back down to the ground. And this time taking your left leg out long, flexing your feet behind you, staying here or testing your balance and taking your right arm out long. Tapping into those core muscles here. On your next exhale breath, I want you to crunch your knee and your elbow in together, bringing them to touch before inhaling and stretching back out. Exhaling to bring them into touch and inhaling to stretch back out. One more time like this, exhaling to crunch, inhaling to stretch, before lowering your hand and your knee back down to the floor. And taking this on the other side, so taking your right leg out long this time, and maybe taking your left hand out in front of you. On your next exhale breath, bringing your knee and your elbow in to crunch and touch. Inhaling to stretch back out. Exhaling to crunch. Inhaling to reach. Exhaling to crunch. And inhaling to reach out one last time before lowering that hand back down, followed by your right leg. And from here, tucking those toes and pushing straight back up into a downward facing dog. Staying here for one breath before taking those hands and pushing your way up into standing, slowly rolling your spine up, your head being the last one to raise. As we come to stand at the back of our mats now. From here, I want you to bring your hands down to your waist and step your right leg forward into a high lunge. So you're on the tippy toes of your back left foot. Your hands are still on your hips. Gaze is forward. Feeling strong here. On your next inhale breath, I want you to sweep your hands up and overhead. Breathing in here, exhaling to settle into high lunge. On your next inhale breath, I want you to open your arms into cactus, creating a mini back bend here, and exhaling to sweep your arms in front of you, rounding the spine, as though we're coming into cat pose. Inhaling to open back up through cactus arms, and exhaling to close. Taking one more like this. Inhaling to open up through the chest, and exhaling to close. On your next inhale breath, taking your hands back up to the sky, and turning your back foot to come into warrior one position. So the toes of your back left foot are shining towards the top left corner of your mat. Breathing in here, and on an exhale breath, taking your arms behind you to come into a bind, either interlacing the fingers or reaching for your elbows here. Exhaling to dive your torso towards the top of your right thigh, coming through humble warrior. Breathing deeply here. Before releasing your bind, bringing your hands down towards the mat and coming onto the tiptoes of your back foot, planting your left palm to the ground and opening up through the right side of your chest. Inhaling to look up towards your top hand, and exhaling to lower that right hand and stepping your right foot back, lowering the knees and coming through 8-point pose. So you're hugging your elbows into your side body here. The toes are tucked and your knees are lowered towards the ground. I want you to create a small back bend in your back, sticking your bum up into the sky, and slowly lower your chest and chin towards the floor. Inhaling here to slide through and come into cobra. Activating through those back muscles to pull you up and pushing through the tops of your feet to come into this pose. Exhaling to lower yourself back down to the ground, and inhaling to come through tabletop, tucking the toes here and pushing your way back up into downward facing dog. Pedaling through the feet, making sure not to dump all of your weight into your wrists. Maybe reaching for one ankle and looking under one shoulder before taking it to the other side. Finding a nice stretch here. And then slowly tiptoeing your fingertips all the way up to curl your spine up to standing as we come into mountain pose again. So taking those hands to your hips, and this time stepping your left foot forward into a high lunge. Inhaling here to sweep your hands up and overhead, coming into our high lunge. On your next inhale breath, I want you to open up your arms into cactus, creating a mini back bend here. Exhaling to sweep your arms in front of you, curling the spine, lowering your chin down to your chest, and inhaling to open back up. Exhaling to close. And one more of these. So inhaling to open up through cactus, exhaling to close. Before inhaling, coming up into back up into high lunge, turning your back foot to come into our warrior one. So your right toes are shining towards the top right corner of your mat this time. Exhaling to sweep your arms behind you to find your bind. And slowly lowering your torso towards your top left thigh, coming through humble warrior. Taking one deep breath here before undoing the bind, lowering your hands to the ground, coming onto the tiptoes of your back right foot, planting your right hand to the ground and opening up through our left side body. Taking your gaze up to the sky to meet your left hand, and exhaling to lower that left hand and step your right foot in. We meet in forward fold here. Inhaling to come up halfway, flat back position. Hands to your shins or to the tops of your thighs. Exhaling to lower yourself back down into forward fold. Inhaling to sweep your arms back up and overhead. And exhaling to lower your palms down to heart center. We meet in Samsahiti. Taking a few breaths here. Slowing the breath down. Maybe exhaling through your mouth to let some heat out. You can sway from side to side, find some movements in your hips before we flow again. So from here we're going to come through Sun Salutation B. Keeping your hands at heart center to begin with, I want you to sink your hips back as though you're coming to sit in a chair. Your feet are hip width distance apart. And on your next inhale breath, I want you to sweep your hands up towards the sky, as high as they can go. Making sure to shrug your shoulders down and away from your ears, but reaching your hands up tall. And exhaling to lower your hands back down to heart center. We're going to twist from here. So using your core muscles to actually twist yourself to the right hand side. So you're not using your legs here. You're using your tummy muscles to twist yourself as far as you can to the right hand side before hooking that elbow over your right knee and coming into a twist here. You may choose to lower the left fingertips towards the ground, take the right fingertips up high towards the sky before exhaling and bringing your palms back together, coming through the center before taking the twist to the other side. So engaging those tummy muscles and hooking that right elbow over your left knee. Inhaling here, maybe lowering the right fingertips towards the ground and opening the left fingertips up towards the sky. Before coming back through center, taking one last breath here, exhaling and folding forward. You would have felt that burn in the tops of your thighs there. Breathing deeply here to let it all go. Inhaling to come up halfway and exhaling to lower yourself back down. Stepping your left foot back followed by your right and lowering the knees to come through a modified chaturanga. So taking your weight forward here and slowly hugging the elbows into your side body, lowering yourself down halfway before inhaling and pushing through the tops of your feet to come through upward facing dog. Your legs are lifted up off the ground here. Your chest is proud. If this is difficult for you, I just want you to lower your legs back down. Tucking the toes here and pushing your way back up into downward facing dog. From here, I want you to twist onto the outer left edge of your left foot and the inner edge of your right foot. Coming to sink your hips down towards the left side of the ground. Inhaling to reach back up high, bringing your hip bones high towards the sky and taking this to the other side, so coming onto the outer right edge of your right foot and the inner edge of your left. Sinking those hips down towards the ground. Taking this in your own time, so exhaling to lower those hips. Inhaling to reach them back up high. Exhaling to lower. Inhaling to come up. From here we're going to come forward into a plank. So making sure your spine is long from the crown of your head to the bottom of your tailbone. We're slowly going to fall onto the outer edge of our right foot and the inner edge of our left. You're welcome to lower the right knee here if this feels difficult for you. From here, opening up, bringing your left hand up into the sky. Inhaling to reach your hips up high and extend that top arm overhead, and exhaling to slowly lower the hips down. Inhaling to reach up high and exhaling to lower. One more like this. Inhaling to reach and exhaling to lower. Before coming back up through side plank, rolling into a normal plank and coming and taking it on the other side. So rolling onto the outer edge of our left foot and inner edge of our right. Extending that right arm up high. Again, lowering that left knee here if need be. Inhaling to reach up and overhead, taking the hips up high. Exhaling to lower the hips and lower that hand. Inhaling to reach. Exhaling to lower. One more like this. Inhaling to reach and exhaling to lower. Before coming through our side plank. Back into our regular plank and lowering those knees and sitting our hips back into child's pose. Well done, everyone. Breathing deeply here. Keeping the arms extended in front of you and coming onto the fingertips here. I want you to find a nice side body stretch, so taking those left fingertips over to the left side. Taking a few breaths here. And then slowly taking it to the other side. And then when you're ready, taking those fingertips back to the center, we'll come up through our tabletop, tuck those toes and come up through our last downward facing dog. I want you to inhale here and reach that right foot up to the sky. And exhale to bend that knee forward and step that right leg through. From here, lowering that back left knee, I want you to slowly tiptoe your left foot to the left edge of your mat and lower that leg all the way down to come through pigeon pose. Opening up the hips here, stretching the glutes. We want to be creating a 90-degree angle with our leg here, but as you can see, I do not get there. And it takes a lot of time and practice to get there. So wherever you're at today, just trying to sink deeper into that stretch. You might want to take the forearms down towards the mat, maybe the forehead. Breathing deeply wherever you are. And when you're ready, pushing up. Taking our right leg back to come through our downward facing dog. Inhaling to lift that left leg up high. And exhaling to bend and bring it through. Tiptoeing your foot to the right edge of your mat this time. And lowering that leg to the ground. Inhaling to lengthen here and exhaling to deepen into the stretch. And from here, pushing up into our final downward facing dog. I want you to step your right foot towards your left hand and your left foot towards your right hand, and slowly lower those hips down towards the ground. Coming to find a comfortable seated position here. Bringing your hands to your knees and taking a few neck rolls here. One way and then the other. Lowering your chin down to your chest. Taking your left ear down to your left shoulder. Your right ear down to your right shoulder. Maybe reversing these neck circles, taking your gaze towards the sky. Before inhaling to reach up and overhead. Exhaling to twist to your right side. Taking your gaze over your right shoulder. Your left hand towards your right knee. Inhaling to lengthen and exhaling to deepen the twist. Inhaling to come back up, reaching high into the sky. and exhaling to take it to the other side. Before exhaling and coming back through center, I want you to reach up one last time, exhaling to sweep the hands behind you and finding a bind here. Breathing deeply, releasing the bind and coming to lie down on our backs. Hugging the knees into our chest, giving yourself a big squeeze. Before exhaling, taking the left leg out long and taking that right leg over to the left side. Coming into a T shape with your arms and taking your head the opposite way to which your knee is falling. Breathing into the nice back stretch here. Exhaling to come back through center, giving yourself another squeeze. Taking that right leg out long this time, folding your left leg over the right side. Finding that nice stretch in your lower back. Making sure to keep both shoulder blades planted to the ground. For inhaling, taking both legs out long, both arms coming down beside you, shining those palms up towards the sky. Taking a deep breath here, maybe the biggest you've taken all day, and come to close your eyes. Tapping into how you're feeling as we come to the relaxation of today's class. Maybe remembering what the intention was that you set for yourself at the start of today's class. Thinking about how you can take that off the mat today. Noticing how you feel. Noticing the breath. Noticing how your body and your mind feels compared to the start of today's class. Staying here for as long as you like today. We're going to end today's practice here in Shavasana. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope you've managed to find some time to relax, unwind and de-stress. I hope to practice with you all again soon. Namaste.